This podcast is made possible by you, the supporters of WPLN and WNXP, Nashville Public Radio. This is the Nashvillager Podcast. It's March 27th, 2026, and today marks a horrible Nashville anniversary. The Covenant School shooting happened 3 years ago today. I'm Nina Cardona, and this is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee from Nashville Public Radio, WPLN News. And this podcast started the week of the first anniversary of that senseless act of violence that killed 3 adults and 3 children. In that episode, I talked about the importance of remembering those names. So first off today, I want to give them their due and remind us of who we lost. Evelyn Deakhouse, William Kinney, Hallie Scruggs, Mike Hill, Cynthia Peake, Catherine Kuntz. Not long ago, at the Academy Awards, the Oscar for Documentary Short Film went to a movie that shows a snippet of how one of those young souls is being remembered. All the Empty Rooms visits the homes of families who lost a child in a school shooting. It documents the way those children's bedrooms have come to serve as a sort of shrine to who they were, to what they could have gone on to become, and the depth of their parents' and siblings' loss. One bedroom the film visits is still just as it was when Hallie Scruggs was alive, here in Nashville. The baby blanket she always liked to sleep with is still crumpled up near the pillow. It's the quintessential room of a 9-year-old girl. Pink and green curtains, a poster board project she once made for school, the friendship bracelet with beads spelling out her name, shells and stuffed animals and ceramic unicorns, books shoved under the bed, crayons in the desk drawer. Both of Hallie's parents talked about going to that room when they need to sit in their grief and wanting it to have at least a little bit more of her, wishing it still had her smell, for example. Most of all, wishing they still had her. In contrast, the rooms at the Covenant School where Hallie and the others died have been changed. For more than a year, classes were held in a Brentwood church. That gave time to mourn and adjust. It also gave time to renovate the Green Hill School building, making major readjustments to the layout to minimize the sense of being in the same space where the tragedy had occurred. What the space had been was essentially buried, put to rest. And now, 3 years after the mass shooting, the school's working on moving entirely. A move will give the school room to grow, but it will also be a fresh start. There's only so much a renovation can do, after all. But as they move, it's clear that the memory of those lost on March 27th, 2023 will still be important to life at the Covenant School. On their website, they spell it out in specifics based on the character of each of the 6 who died that day. They say that Catherine Kuntz is remembered when people delight in giving to others. For Mike Hill, it's any time someone does a favor without being asked. Cindy Peake's memory is honored by passionately pursuing knowledge. Those were the adults who died that day. For the kids, showing tenderness and kindness is a tribute to Evelyn Deakhouse. Taking chances to be creative and brave honors Will Kinney. And as for Hallie Scruggs, they say the way to remember her is to laugh really, really hard. In just a few minutes, an artist who uses country music to embrace her blackness. That's coming up after the newscast.
Here at Nashville Public Radio, we believe that quality news and information is a right, not a privilege. We believe everyone in our community deserves the same access to high-quality information, to investigative journalism, to civic dialogue, no matter who they are or how much money they have. But that type of equitable access cannot exist unless the people who can afford it pitch in to cover their neighbors who can't. Do your part today at WPLN.org.
Here's the latest from WPLN News. Tennessee lawmakers could soon track the number of transgender patients seeking gender-affirming care. WPLN's Mariana Bacchiao reports the House has passed legislation that would provide more information on the number of trans Tennesseans. Republican Representative Jeremy Faison's bill would expand coverage for people detransitioning and require clinics to report who is accessing gender-affirming care. He says the data would not have identifying information.
Research and collecting data gives us the ability to study trends, outcomes, and effectiveness of treatment without knowing who the patient is.
But Darren Johnson with the Tennessee Equality Project is still worried. She says she's not against people receiving help to detransition.
But they don't talk about the vast percentage of folks who feel more at home, more at ease, more capable and confident in their own life.
Demonstrators packed the hallway and sang as the House passed the measure.
Transphobia got to go.
Mariana Vacayao, WPLN News.
Tennessee lawmakers are at odds over a bill targeting undocumented students. WPLN's Camelia Burris explains the reasons behind the split.
House and Senate lawmakers are hashing out differences between their proposals. The House wants Tennessee schools to report undocumented kids, but the Senate would let schools refuse them altogether. The bill's sponsor, Senator Bo Watson, says limiting schools to reporting undocumented kids doesn't go far enough to address the financial toll he feels these students cause.
The Senate passed a bill, so obviously the Senate likes its bill. And the Senate should jealously guard the decisions that we make, as should the House.
He's also not concerned about losing federal funding if schools refuse undocumented kids because of the Trump administration's stance on immigration. Watson says he's working with lawmakers to determine how to ensure the bill moves forward. Camelia Burris, WPLN News.
This weekend, millions of people are expected to participate in No Kings protests across the country. In Tennessee, dozens of events are planned in big cities and small towns, from Memphis to Bristol. In Nashville, the demonstration is planned from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow at Wazioto Park between South 1st Street and the Cumberland River. Other protests are planned in Franklin, Lebanon, Gallatin, and Murfreesboro. Dry weather conditions, low humidity, gusty winds, they're all creating a high risk for wildfires, and authorities want you to be extra careful about burning any outdoor debris or yard waste. March has been a dry month, and many areas are dealing with drought conditions. Officials say wildfires can spread quickly, and even one spark could threaten homes and vegetation. March burning restrictions are currently in place, but outdoor grills and burn barrels with mesh covers are still allowed. Still, it's best to check your local rules. There are a lot of great albums coming out from the biggest artists in the world here in Music City. But music and culture reporter Justin Barney reports on a standout album from an unsigned artist who funded his album by fixing household appliances.
Oven's new album, Gnawing at the Cord, contributes to a blossoming alt-country scene here in Nashville. In a city known for record labels and music industry, Oven, whose real name is Owen Burton, is totally removed from it all. He financed this album as a handyman.
When the music stuff's going good, I won't have to swing a hammer for months. And then, January comes around and I'm like, all right, I better text some of those old clients and see what's broken in their houses.
A big part of this album is embracing his inner dad.
The dads were right about everything. Led Zeppelin is the best band of all time.
But everybody someday feels the pull of rock and roll.
For Nashville Public Radio, I'm Justin Barney.
Oven is playing an album release show tomorrow night at Dark Matter. Sweet 16 madness is in the air. This is a busy day for Tennessee teams still in the NCAA basketball tournament. At 1:30 this afternoon in the women's bracket, number 2 seeded Vanderbilt Commodores take on the number 6 seed Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The Commodores are favorites and hoping to reach the Elite Eight for the first time in 24 years. Later this evening, it's the University of Tennessee men's turn. The 6 seed Volunteers are making their 4th trip to take on 2nd seed Iowa State Cyclones. And Coach Rick Barnes is hoping the Vols will ride into the Elite Eight for the 3rd consecutive year. But it's not going to be easy, as Tennessee has struggled this season to clinch those close games. And if they do win, you can be sure they'll continue their white towel shower. That's when the players bestow a load of white towels on Coach Barnes. That game is at 9:10 tonight at the United Center in Chicago. You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org. This week, we've been listening to excerpts from recent profile episodes of This Is Nashville. Last month, host Blake Farmer talked to musician Rissi Palmer about the long road from her first single that shot up the charts to how she charts her own path now as a Black musician in the country genre.
On your new EP titled Perspectives, You have this cover song from the Steel Drivers. So that's the band that Chris Stapleton was a part of for a long time. It's called Can You Run? And I went back and listened to it when the Steel Drivers were doing it, and Chris Stapleton was singing it. And it's one thing to listen to Chris Stapleton sing about being a runaway slave.
Yeah.
It's very different coming from you.
There's smoke down by the river. Hear the cannon and the drum. I've got one thing to ask you, honey. Can you run? You know I hate to ask so late, but the moment's finally come, and there won't be time to change your mind. Can you run? Can you run to the freedom line?
I mean, really, when I first heard that song with Chris Stapleton, I didn't even think too much about what it was about. And when you're singing it, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, there were these moments all over the place in 1860, whatever it was for them, that you're thinking, can you run?
Can you run? Yeah.
But how did you choose to cover that song?
So that was thanks to Alice Randall. Alice Randall is, for those that are listening that don't know, she's not only a New York Times bestselling author. She's not just a professor at Vanderbilt. She's a griot. She's the first Black woman, one of the first Black women to write a #1 country song. She wrote X's and O's with Matrika Burt. Yeah. And she is not only that, but she was Garth Brooks' first publisher and so many other things. And so she's a pioneer, and I'm very fortunate that I've had her as a mentor for a few years. And anyway, we were having dinner here in town, and she was like, I have a song for you. And so I was like, okay, anything that Alice suggests, I'm down. And so she sent it to me, and I listened to it, and I had the same thought that you did. I was just like, that's so interesting that Chris Stapleton not only sang, but was one of the co-writers on this song. And I was just like, I wonder what made them write from the perspective of an enslaved man. And I was immediately just drawn to the material because it sounds like a really upbeat, yeah. And then you listen to the words and you're like, oh. And I take some of that upbeatness, to me, I think it translates for me into like anxiety. Like it's whatever is they're feeling on the inside, like this bubbling, like the hope of possibly being free, the anxiety of running and like what that may entail and what may happen and that sort of thing. And yeah, and that kind of set me on the journey for this EP.
Have you talked to them about why they did that song?
I haven't had a chance to talk to them about it.
I don't even know how it works when you record a cover. If it's sort of like you ever even let them, how you let them know that. But yeah, anyway, it's beautiful coming from you, and really enjoyed listening to it. Let me ask, how has your understanding of like your own position in country music changed since recordings you did, let's say 20 years ago?
Oh my gosh, that's a really great question. Honestly, I think when I started this journey, I was very much Rissi focused. Like it was about me, and it was about me becoming Faith Hill or becoming Carrie Underwood or like any of these people. And now it's more so like, I would like to leave this better than I found it for the people that are coming behind me. Like it's more so a global approach, I think, that I'm trying to take and that I do take. I'm more concerned about how the industry is going to treat others and how they're going to be received and that sort of thing. And so like just trying to till the ground, I guess, is what I'm trying to do. And like as far as my personal place, I just really focus on like writing the best songs, picking the best songs, singing the best way that I can, making sure that my show is fun and unforgettable and like that sort of thing. And I'm more so focused on that than I am chart position or any of those things, because like that's not ultimately what we remember. It's the people that do memorable things, like that do the iconic things, that say the things that no one else is saying, that sing the songs that no one else will sing. And that's what I'm more focused on.
You can hear more of the conversation with Rissi Palmer in the This Is Nashville podcast feed. Thanks for listening to the Nashvillager podcast. We take this look at Nashville news every weekday. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and tell a friend or give us a mention on your socials. And of course, everything at WPLN News is listener supported. And this is the Spring Fund Drive week. Today is the last day of the Spring Fund Drive. You can become a member at WPLN.org. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for listening. Let's make this day a good one, and we'll catch back up next week.